Glad you could join us this morning. I'm Marie Ambo, coming to you live from Broadcasting House in Nairobi. Well, King Charles III and Queen Camilla are today expected to be in Mombasa on their third-day state visit. My colleagues in Mombasa will be bringing us full details of their coast visit. And yesterday marked the end of an era, that is an education era, as the last cohort of the 844 students sat their KCP exams, whose results are expected before Christmas, according to the Basic Education PS, that is Belia Kipsang. I'll be bringing you details of that and more in this particular news bulletin. I'm not alone in studio. Mike is here. DJ Unique is also around. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mary. How are you?
Fine.
Welcome to Entertainment Thursday. This is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwi. And as usual, Thursdays are fully packed for you. We have lots of interviews for you from various artists. We'll also be looking at one topic that will be of interest to you. We'll be looking at the savings culture, especially in Kenya. What are you saving? Are you doing the right things? Is there the right environment to enhance savings? But before then, DJ Unique, unaendeleaje? Yes. Yes.
Najaribu tukwambia wase wenye wako na watch pale home.
Yes.
Today we have a great show,
yes,
great music lined up for you. So just stay tuned.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, yes, Marie,
yes,
take us through the news.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you indeed, DJ Unique. And back at home, you know, you say sit back and enjoy. Yeah. So to the news now, where they just concluded Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, KCPE, and the Kenya Primary Education Assessment, KBC. Examination results will be out in December. Basic Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belia Kipsang says that Standard 8 candidates will be prioritized in the marking, further pledging that no learner will miss a slot to join secondary school next year. The examination class of 2023 is the last cohort to set the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education as the country fully transitions to the competency-based curriculum from next year. Frederick Parsayo now reports.
Friday morning, Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, Kenya Primary Education Assessment candidates sat for their last national examinations papers. As is the norm, center managers would, after the examination, return the examination papers to respective containers. Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belio Kipsang oversaw the final return of papers at Westland Sub-County container. It is here that he termed this year's examination for Kenya Primary Education Assessment, KPSEA, and the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, KCPE, as a major success.
We were dealing with slightly more than 2.6 million candidates in the last 3 days. And I would want to thank all of us because to a very large extent, I think it's been very successful.
Sentiments echoed by the Kenya National Examination Council Chief Executive Officer, Dr. David Nyengere.
KPSEA and the KCP with very minimal disruptions. So that goes a long way to show that our primary school teachers have come of age.
Kipsang further assured parents whose children sat for this year's KCP of slots in Form 1 by next year, January.
Our school calendar has come back to normal. We are opening schools for the continuing students on 8th of January. And within the shortest time, we would want the others to join them in Form 1. Before the end of January, everybody should be in school.
Candidates who fail to sit for the examination will also be given a second chance to do the examination.
Children who may not have been registered, we have provided them with an opportunity to be able to sit for the examinations. We shall deal with the consequences of that particular way of doing things. But I think the first thing that we needed to do is to give an equal opportunity to our children.
This year's national examination for the primary level attracted more than 2.6 million candidates.
President William Ruto has promised to tackle the perennial land issues bedeviling the coast region. Ruto says his government has set aside 1 billion shillings to buy land from absentee landlords as part of the resettlement plan. He was speaking during the commissioning of the Bamburi-Mwakirunge-Rabai Road in Kiambu area. He is on a 5-day official visit of the coast region.
4 p.m. and President William Ruto arrived at Kiambeni to commission the Bamburi Mwakirunge Rabai Road. Speaking at the venue, the president noted that the road will stir economic development in the region, and his government is committed to ensuring that the road infrastructure across the country is improved.
Na barabara zingine zote katika taifa letu la Kenya tunaanza kuzishughulikia kwa sababu tunataka kubadilisha taifa letu, sio kwa maneno lakini kwa maendeleo na miradi ya kupeleka taifa letu la Kenya mbele.
The land question, which remains an emotive subject in the region, sparked a conversation which saw leaders from the area, including the Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir, request the president to speedily tackle the matter.
Swala kubwa linalosumbua watu wa Mombasa County na pwani kwa ujumla ni maswala ya ardhi. Na Your Excellency, hawa watu hakuna mahali wataenda. Na mimi nimesikia ukiahidi ya kwamba mambo ya ardhi utakuja kuangalia. Na sisi kwa sababu rais amesema sasa tutulie ili aweze kutupanga.
Sisi tunasema kwa tunachukua jukumu, tunafanya mapping, wale walioko pale, tunaangalia njia kuongea na financial institutions, watu wakilipa land rates kidogo, wanalipa na ile deni ile ambayo kwamba ya kununua ardhi, watu waweze kuwa na rasilimali yao.
The president reiterated that his government is committed to end the land issues with an allocation of 1 billion shillings already made to buy land from absentee landlords.
Niliwaambia ndani ya miaka 5 tutapanga hiyo kazi. The first 1 billion shillings tayari imewekwa kwa budget. Tunataka kupanga vile absentee landlords wote tutawalipa pesa ambayo ni mpango ya serikali, alafu ile ardhi tuwagawie wananchi wenyewe waweze kuendesha na maisha yao, wawache kuishi kama maskota.
The president directed the Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome to ensure she settles the land issues brought up in Kisauni.
For that report. Now, King Charles III has called for a collective and united approach towards mitigating climate change challenges. The King, who continued his tour of duty in Kenya, spoke at the British High Commission's residence, where he called for partnerships in protecting the planet. His visit in the country's capital ended yesterday ahead of his visit to the coast city of Mombasa. Yusuf Farah with the details of the monarch's busy itinerary on the second day.
The Kericho Commonwealth War graves mark the first stop of His Majesty King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Here they paid tribute at the Commonwealth War graves in honor of those who died serving the Career Corps, a regiment whose name and legacy left its mark on the Kericho district of Nairobi after the First World War of 1914 to 1918. The Majesties also had a chance to meet with the war veterans.
The ones that were moved here about 59, they came with the details, they are known. The ones that have not been identified, but we know the locations, and that was done 2 weeks ago. It was through a system called ground penetrating radar.
We have traced so many families of people who are interned in this cemetery, and it's work in progress. We are doing oral histories with these families just to document their stories and keep those stories for our future generations. And we are developing this site actually with a resource center that will keep those stories for our children and the children of the children.
This land here is filled with bodies of people who served during the World War, and the National Museums of Kenya is working to develop this site to become a national heritage to ensure that those who served in true military spirit will be remembered. He will then proceed to Karura Forest for an exhibition of conservation measures and tree planting ventures by the Kenya Forest Service under the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. His Majesty will then proceed to plant a tree at the VIP planting site domiciled at the forest. Quite a packed diary for His Majesty King Charles III from the Commonwealth graves at Kericho, and now here where he got to witness the great work done by Professor Wangari Maathai. From here he's expected to go to the British High Commission. At the British High Commissioner's residence, the King will address the need for concerted efforts to tackle climate change.
The entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs who are doing such remarkable things here, coming up with brilliant ideas, particularly in terms of how to cope with climate change and biodiversity loss, thinking up clever solutions, nature-based and so on.
The relationship between Britain and Kenya is now stronger than it has ever been.
Day 2 of the state visit marks the end of his time in the capital city, as he and Queen Camilla are expected in Mombasa on Thursday.
Thank you, Yusuf Farah, for that report. Now, the National Dialogue Committee was on Wednesday forced to adjourn its sittings prematurely after officials of the State Department of Housing failed to show up. The committee was forced to reschedule the meeting with the Ministry of Housing to Monday next week, while they are expected to shed light on the housing levy as the committee probes the high cost of living. Give us on Maina with the details of that report.
The National Dialogue Committee convened Wednesday for its sitting. However, the meeting ended prematurely after officials from the State Department of Housing scheduled to appear before the committee failed to turn up.
Kuna wengine ambao leo tulikuwa tuwatarajia, lakini kwa sababu ya hali ya makalenda zao tukaona kwamba tutawasikiliza Jumatatu ijayo. Lakini hatua ambayo tutachukua sisi wenyewe itabainika wazi baada ya kuwasikiliza wote.
This prompted the committee to slot them to appear on Monday next week, where officials from National Treasury and Ministry of Energy will also appear as the committee probes the increasing cost of living. On Thursday, the committee will review various issues, including ways to reduce the cost of living.
Thursday, we shall now review and consider as a committee all the proposals that will have come to us from all the experts, and thereafter retreat to do the final report. And as His Excellency has said, on or before the 22nd, we expect to give the final report to the principals and also table our report before Parliament, both houses.
The committee is expected to begin compiling its report on the 12th of this month.
Now, members of the Kiambu County Assembly are for the second time threatening to impeach area governor, that is Kimani Wamatangi. The ward representatives are accusing the governor of poor leadership, dictatorship and inability to oversee Kiambu County development. And as Abdiaziz Shim now reports, if the ward representative make good on the threats and the impeachment motion goes through, Kimani Wamatangi will be the second governor to appear before the Senate in a span of a year.
Even before the Senate starts hearing the impeachment motion of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, our Kiambu counterpart Kimani Wamatangi could find himself in the same predicament if the members of the Kiambu County Assembly act on their impeachment threats against him.
As the organ charged with oversight of county affairs, we shall not allow Kiambu County to go to the drain as we watch. The County Assembly will forthwith exercise its legal mandate to hold Governor Wamatangi to account and take such steps as necessary, including removing him from office by way of impeachment.
The Kiambu members of the County Assembly have accused Wamatangi of stifling the county's development progress through ineffective and inefficient leadership.
It is completely disgusting that the Governor Wamatangi continues to waste and embezzle county resources instead of providing basics to Kiambu residents during this critical time. It is clear that the Governor Wamatangi continues to treat the people and other Kiambu leaders with extreme contempt and arrogance.
They say this has affected development of various sectors of the economy in Kiambu County.
We are saddened by the state of our health facilities, which by the hour move from bad to worse. The Constitution provides for citizens' right to life and highest attainable standards of health, which we confirm that the current facilities we have are way short of upholding.
The MCAs have also alleged massive embezzlement of public funds by county officials through the signing of imprest by junior officers. The members of the County Assembly say they will table the impeachment motion against Wamatangi in the coming days.
Now, Now, the government has signed a memorandum of understanding with civil societies, setting the stage for the rollout of a public sensitization exercise ahead of the launch of the digital identification card registration exercise. Immigration and Citizen Registration Principal Secretary Julius Bitok says they will pilot the program following the gazettement of the regulations to support the rollout.
On Wednesday, Immigration Principal Secretary Julius Bitok met civil society organizations as the government seeks to build consensus and collect views from Kenyans ahead of the launch of the third generation digital identification.
We are open, there's nothing we are hiding, we are engaging all stakeholders. It is our third meeting with the civil society, and we are saying we are open to have another forums, and we have agreed with them. We are going to have a joint implementation team that is going to go around the country to have many other forums.
It is at this event that he signed a memorandum of understanding with civil society organizations. Bitok said they will ensure inclusivity as they modernize the current registration system.
The government has gazetted the regulations that will provide the legal framework and legal governance for the rollout of Maisha number.
Similar sentiments were echoed by human rights organizations who committed to work with government in sensitizing Kenyans on the importance of the exercise.
Ensure that Kenyans' personal data is protected, that people are able to access the system to get the services that they require, and that no person, no human being, whether they be refugees, foreign nationals or Kenyan citizens, that they are discriminated or excluded by this system.
Let's move on, where the Minister of Education now wants Parliament to allocate at least 22 billion shillings through the supplementary budget for secondary school capitation. Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu and Principal Secretary, that is Belio Kipsang, engaged the National Assembly Education Committee on how to cushion parents from digging deeper in their pockets to pay school fees next year. Now, if the deficit is not addressed, capitation for secondary schools will drop from 22,000 to 16,000 per student. Kevin Washera with that report.
The leadership of the Ministry of Education appeared before the National Assembly Education Committee to justify its request for an additional 22 billion shillings for secondary school capitation.
Whatever discussion that we shall have without dealing with the funding cap will continue to persist. And the problem of underfunding is a solution that can only be found in this room today.
According to the ministry, failure to avail the funds will reduce the capitation, meaning parents may be forced to pay an extra 6,000 shillings to meet the school fee deficit.
We have 4 million students in our secondary schools today, so what we require is 88 billion shillings. This year we have received 65 billion shillings. So there is a problem that must be sorted out.
MPs queried the data the ministry was using to allocate capitation and its capacity to monitor the utilization of the funds.
Do you have a monitoring and evaluation department that checks for you what you're doing on the ground?
And in fact, the sub-county directors tell us they don't have money. So if you retain 30 shillings and you send to the sub-county director, these 40 shillings, can you give us a narration on how it reaches the child?
The Ministry of Education was also put on the spot over delays in releasing funds to junior secondary schools, as well as operationalization of the digital literacy program. The National Assembly is set to discuss and consider the supplementary budget when it resumes next week.
Let's look at business now, where rising operational costs have forced Kenya Railways Corporation to increase fares on the standard gauge railway line. Under the new rates that come into force from the 1st of January 2024, fares along the line are set to go up by 50%. Travelers between Nairobi and Mombasa on economy will now pay 1,500 shillings from the current 1,000 shillings one way, while those on the first class will pay 4,500 shillings, up from the current 3,000 shillings.
The prices of fuel have gone up by almost 30% in the last year. A litre of diesel has jumped from 162 shillings to the current 202 shillings. This has affected the cost of transport and production since diesel is a major cost factor. This has seen manufacturers increase the price of their goods, while transporters have been forced to raise their fees. In a public readout, Kenya Railways says the increase is informed by changes in the energy and petroleum sector, where prices of fuel have significantly increased, thus increasing the cost of operations. Kenya Railways Corporation says the new rates will come into force in the next 2 months. Under the new rates, a passenger traveling between Nairobi and Mombasa will now pay 1,500 shillings one way effective from January 1st, 2024, up from the current 1,000 shillings. Kenya Railways Corporation says tickets purchased before then will, however, not be affected. For those who wish to travel with first class, they will have to pay 4,500 shillings, up from the current 3,000 shillings one way.
The government plans to undertake a countrywide sensitization exercise targeting micro, small and medium-sized enterprises on how to access that is 1.3 trillion shillings revolving fund launched by the East African Community. Now, cooperatives and MSMEs, Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says the fund is relatively unknown amongst Kenyan MSMEs despite its ability to complement affordable credit being offered by the government and private sector agencies.
The East African Community Secretariat launched a 1.3 trillion shillings revolving fund targeting micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in efforts to unlock capital for small businesses. The program, which is a partnership with development partners, was also meant to offer capacity building to traders within the region. However, its uptake remains low.
What has not happened is sensitization, information and awareness. So again, as a ministry, we began to unlock and to open up this fund.
The state is looking to revive talks about the fund, which will significantly benefit small businesses in Kenya.
We began engagement last week. We have engagements with Kenya Association of Manufacturers, who also sit in the board of MSEA, to also contribute and support in sensitization of our members, MSME members, of this existing facility.
Chelugui was speaking at the official launch of the National Organizing Committee for the 23rd EAC MSMEs Trade Fair to be held in Bujumbura, Burundi next month.
Kenya has done very well in terms of the quality of the exhibitors and the products they bring to the market. Have we done enough? My answer is no, we haven't done enough, but we can do better.
That this exhibition has been providing a great opportunity to expose MSMEs to export trend at the regional level, thereby preparing them for other markets beyond the East African region.
For this round two, which you have earmarked to take place in Burundi, we want to really commit with no condition attached to it that we are going to support you in this journey as KNCCI.
Kenya is looking to support 300 MSMEs to the trade fair as part of efforts to help them establish market linkages for their products and to business opportunities in the East African community.
Stella Onyango reporting there. Now, Talanta FC hopes of moving to top 5 of the FKF Premier League table suffered a hit after a goalless draw with Zoya Sugar in an entertaining match played at the Ruaraka grounds. Meanwhile, defending champions Gor Mahia registered a 1-0 victory over Shabana FC.
Talanta FC took charge of the game from the onset, making the intentions of bagging 3 points clear, but Nzoia defenders made no mistakes, forcing a goalless halftime draw. In the second half, both teams had equal winning chances, missing open chances, with the game ending in a goalless draw. Following the draw, Talanta FC are 9th on 12 points, while Nzoia Sugar take the 18th place on 6 points. In other matches, Gor Mahia registered a 1-0 win over Shabana FC, Bandari FC beat Police FC 3-2, FC Leopards and Kariobangi Sharks played to a goalless draw as Ulinzi Stars secured a 1-0 victory over Tusker FC.
And that's where we end the bulletin this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on Good Morning Kenya. Remember, we still have a lot lined up for you in as far as the news is concerned. King Charles III and Queen Camilla are expected in Mombasa to visit Mombasa today. So our reporters are on standby to bring us details of that visit. The president, that is William Ruto, is also in Mombasa, and those details will be coming to us later in the day. Right now, I want to give room to my colleagues, that is Mike and DJ Unique, to continue with Good Morning Kenya. It's Entertainment Thursday. My name is Mariambo. Hope to see you again next time.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. This is Entertainment Thursday. Thank you for staying tuned. And now, right now, I am joined by a beautiful lady that I am going to allow introduce herself so that I don't get to sell her short.
Okay.
Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. Kindly introduce yourself to us.
Thank you, Vivian. My name is Heather Maxwell. I am American. I come from Washington, D.C.
You didn't tell us what you do.
I am a music presenter, a host, and a producer for the Voice of America. I have a radio and TV program called Music Time in Africa, and it features Pan-African music. Even though I'm American, I love African music, and I have for decades now. So that's what I do most of the time. Got either headphones on, or I'm making music, or I am in front of a camera, like right now.
So this is not new to you. I mean, you've been doing this for years as well. You've been a broadcaster for years. But there's something you mentioned, that you really, really love African music. And it is evident because your show on Voice of America it's an African music show. It's, Music Time in Africa. And then you've also worked with a number of Africans. I mean, we've just watched you with Winyo, our very own Winyo, from right here in the country. What is it about African music that really just sets it on for you?
Well, I've been doing it so long, I can't even tell you now. It's just part of my life. But when I first encountered African music, I was in college, and I was studying opera at that time. But I was curious about music from all over the world. And this was a long time ago, where we didn't have all of the internet and all of that we do now. So people's music from different parts of the world were not very accessible to each other. So I went to Africa because I liked that music. I wanted to see what the people were behind the music. And I really liked West African music in the beginning. But now, of course, it's been decades, so I love all kinds of African music and all kinds of genres. I like pop, I like hip hop, I like gengetone.
Oh, you do know about gengetone. Give me a high five for that.
I like it all.
I didn't think you know gengetone.
I like it.
When did you know about gengetone? I'm curious to know. Is it that when you've just come, you were told about it, or
no,
it's a genre that you've known? Because it's quite a new genre.
Yeah.
Gengetone in specific. Genge has been there, but gengetone is quite a new genre. It started off in, I think, 2020, thereabouts.
Right.
So when did you get to know about it?
It was probably about then, because part of my job is to always stay on top of the new things coming out from all over the continent. And gengetone came out with, I don't know, a song a few years ago. I can't remember what it was, but it was so catchy.
Wamlambes.
What?
Was it that one?
Which one?
Wamlambes.
No, but it had Meji, isn't he? Meja, who is, I know now, like the pioneer, I think, of that genre.
Not one really of gengetone, but Meja had been there. He's one of the pioneers of genge music.
Oh, genge music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember the name of the song, but the point is, I like all kinds of music. Kenyan South African, North African, Central, West.
Yeah. When you first experienced gengetone, now that you've mentioned that, I'm quite intrigued. I have to ask. When you first experienced gengetone, like what came to your mind when you listened to gengetone for the very first time? When you experienced it?
It just seemed very authentic and not overly produced, not overly thought through, just a fresh voice from the ground up. That's what I thought of.
I hear you. I get that. You've worked with Winyo, as I just mentioned.
Yes.
How did you get to meet up with Winyo, and how did you guys decide, let's work on a song? Tell me about how that came about.
Well, last time I was in Kenya, the one and only other time, was 8 years ago. And I was working with Ketable Music, and because they have some interesting academic side to Kenyan and East African music. And they introduced me to several artists, including Winyo. And he was playing guitar, and I was interviewing him, but I was like, God, that's so pretty. And I just started humming along with one of his songs, and Tabu and the others around said, hey, you know, you guys should do something together. Do you have any time? You know, the studio was right there. And I said, yeah, you know, let's do it tomorrow night or whenever. And so we did. We just sat together, and I think you've already aired it yet with he and I in that studio earlier. I think we saw it. And that's what it was. And guess what? I was at the Go Down Center last night with Tabu, some of these same people. And I'm going to see Winyo tonight. And we're going to try another song.
You're going to do another collaboration?
We're going to do another collaboration in the studio. So I don't know how
really excited about that.
I am, but
are you planning on working with any other Kenyan artists now that you are in the country? I know that you will be here for just a few days. But are you maybe planning on working with any other artists from Kenya?
It hasn't come up, and I don't think I'm going to have time. Even this one with Winyo was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I would love to, though. There are so many artists.
Who do you listen to here? You've mentioned, of course, you listen to Winyo, and you've mentioned Major.
Oh, yeah.
So who else do you listen to?
You know, one of my favorites, of course, is Sauti Sol. And their solo careers, all of their solo careers. Nikita Kering, I like. Actually, I'm interviewing her later on today on my platform. Muthoni, the drummer queen. I'm also going to interview her. I like her. I like what she does musically, and also what she does with that wine festival.
Blankets and Wine.
Blankets and Wine.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest festivals here.
Yes. So I'm listening to them right now. Who else? I mean, there are so many. I work a lot with Bill Odidi. He does a lot of features on Kenyan music for my radio show.
Bill Odidi is my colleague because he works for the corporation.
Hi, Bill. I'll see you later. Later today. Yeah, just so many. I actually can't even think of how many different Kenyan musicians.
All right. I mean, you've mentioned quite a number of them. I want to put you on to one artist that okay, let me give you two female artists. I love to support female artists. So two really good female artists that I think you should listen to: Zenia Manasseh, Karun. Listen to Karun and Zenia Manasseh.
Awesome.
You'll love them. I'm sure you'll love them. All right. You have worked with numerous artists across the world and Africa mainly. What would you say are the trends in music that you have witnessed in your career?
In my career, wow. Well, I don't want to say how old I am, but it's gone back some decades now. When I first started even just listening to African music, this was like in the 90s. I was living in Mali, and it was all Congolese rumba. Then after that, it was Nigerian Afro beats kind of started coming up. Now, of course, I'm a piano, but then there was Kwaito, you know, South African, seemed to compete a lot with Congolese rumba. Congolese rumba kind of faded out and went into something different. But I think Congo has their own, they have their own world of music. You can't even pierce it. It's just its own thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard actually to even talk about African music as a whole, because you have North Africa, which has its own thing, Southern Africa, West Africa, East, Central, well, there's Congo. But the most recent trend, of course, is Amapiano that came out of South Africa, but now it's so easy to produce and put it on everybody else's music.
Yeah, everyone is using
Everyone's
it.
using it, but I love it.
It's beautiful.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm wondering how I could put Amapiano beat onto classic jazz song, but I haven't explored that.
You
yet.
should try.
You
should
so?
try explore that. You know, I'm sure it would come out.
It might.
a certain kind of way, but in a good way.
Yeah.
A good way.
Maybe I'll work on it.
Are there any similarities that maybe you could point out for us that you've witnessed or seen in artists? Do they have maybe some kind of similarity that just you
About
are able
African
to
artists?
pick? Yeah, that you're able to pick out.
No, I can't, because they're all too different. You know, you have traditional musicians, you have live band, you know, people that sing with live bands, and then you have recording artists that are super great in the studio, but when they get on stage, oftentimes they're actually not. That's one thing I think we could all work on, not just African artists, but younger generations of artists who are really great in the studio, and they can make super great recordings. But then when they get on stage, they don't know even what to do, and they lose a lot of people that way, especially for an international audience. So, you know, choreography, stuff like that, costuming, makeup, all that should be kind of worked a lot for the stage. But African artists really continue to impress me now. Younger artists are very versatile. And you know, now African music is really piercing into the American market a lot.
It has, actually.
It's so, and it's also amazing.
Afrobeat specifically.
Oh yes, Afrobeat specifically. But it's also amazing to see the sort of recycling, you know, where you have diasporans who are bringing stuff back, but also taking what's fresh from here and recycling it there. And it's just this beautiful, it's the way the world works anyway. I always like music because you can look at music and see how the world works, you know, and that's the way it is now. It's just becoming a smaller world, and everything is, you know, everything is influencing everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You have a PhD. We have to mention this. You know, you have a PhD in that term. For me is quite new and it's quite difficult. So if you may just say it for me.
It's ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusicology.
Yeah.
What is it all about?
Okay, it was a discipline that started in the 1950s. So, and it's a small discipline. It can be either considered an offshoot of music study, music performance, or even academic study of music. And then on the other side of cultural anthropology or social anthropology. So you take the two and combine them to try to understand more of what's deeper meaning of music, and underneath that reveal more about the people that make it as a community, as a country, as a culture, gender. There's all different ways you can look at groups of people and how music can reveal things about them. So that's really what this study is. And I was really, as I said and we said, fascinated with African music. And so I dug into the music of Mali in West Africa. And that's when I wrote my master's, my PhD on some instruments and singers from there and what that meant. And
yeah, I'm curious to know, you must have a really, really deep love for music. I mean, if you went on to, you know, get a PhD on that. Well, you've mentioned Mali. That's where you really got to study the behaviors and that's where you wrote your
my master's and my
master's
dissertation.
Yes. So how is the entertainment industry in Mali for someone who, for like myself, who's not really tried to look into that industry over there in that country as much? How would you tell me that industry is, and maybe how different is it from the rest of Africa, or the little you know from right here in Kenya, or the much that you know from here?
Well, you know, it's been a while since I've lived in Mali. I went back in 2012, and that already was a long time ago. That was 10, 11, no, how many years was that?
12.
Yeah,
12 years
it's
ago.
a long time ago. But the music industry there was not as robust as it is in, definitely not as in the Anglophone or even other Francophone West African countries that are more developed anyway in a lot of ways. Like Côte d'Ivoire. I spent a year in Côte d'Ivoire. They still have a great music scene. Nigeria, of course, we don't even need to talk about that. Ghana is pretty good. South Africa, of course, East Africa. But in Mali, it's not quite as developed. So, and I really didn't focus on the music industry as much as cultural music, which is really what people love a lot there. I speak Bambara. Well, and
I didn't get anything.
I know.
What you say.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. But that's one of the things I learned too.
Yeah.
If you want to study music or anything about a place, you really need to spend time there, and you need to at least speak the language there.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied for a couple of years this language, Bambara, and French too.
Yeah.
And that was what enabled me to really get underneath that.
Yeah.
But sadly now, Mali, the music industry is not going so well now because of all the political problems there.
There's something you've said. You've said you really studied into the cultural music and not the entertainment industry. So those are two different things. The entertainment industry is not the same thing as cultural music?
It can be, but I mean, when you think of entertainment industry, that is the showbiz. It's for the cameras and 3-minute songs so that it can stream on Boomplay or Apple or whatever, and you're making money from streaming, and you're using electronic music and the image, and you have a brand. All that's industry. Cultural music is really more just what people do to carry on a tradition, a family, to perform it in small groups, usually acoustic music. I find it very beautiful and heartwarming and touching. So I think there is a difference there.
Yeah, I get that. I get that difference.
Yeah.
Now, Music Time in Africa, which is the show that you host on Voice of America Radio and Voice of America Television, how would you say that has promoted African music? Because it's entirely African music. That's all you listen to. That's all you talk about. Those are the musicians that you bring to the show. How has that promoted African musicians, according to you?
Well, it promotes African musicians here on the continent because it's coming from America, and because I have this specialty, I kind of vet who I choose to be on the show, who I would talk about. I have a playlist that I listen to. It's not Spotify, I play some songs that are trending, but then I also play artists that I think are super great that may not have the break yet, or that are really young and haven't had the chance yet. So I think it helps them. And nowadays too, I'm actually including some more American music because I've found over even the 10, 11 years I've been doing this that because the world is moving the way it is, Africans are really doing well and progressing quite well in the music industry. For yourselves, you don't really need us as much, meaning the American hand in you guys doing your music business. You're doing a really great job. So I've decided, we got to change, keep up with the times. So I'm now incorporating American music as well that I think Africans will appreciate and like, and diaspora music to highlight the American experience of Africans here. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. As we finish with this interview, I want you to tell me about Access, which is an event that you're going to attend and I think present at in Tanzania.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Access is the biggest Pan-African music conference and showcase. And it's wonderful because it's Pan-African. So that's a point, case in point, what I was saying earlier. It's Africans, creating their own, helping each other build their own music industry. And so we have all kinds of experts, and I'm coming with my colleague Roger Muntu, who has the Roger Muntu Show. He broadcasts from Voice of America in French. And he and I both are presenting our shows at the conference, just to have people aware of what we do. And I'm also interviewing Shoma Josie. Do you know Sho?
Of course. Who doesn't know Shoma Josie? If you're African and you don't know Shoma Josie, you don't really support African music.
Yeah, so I'll be presenting her, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then I'm also giving a concert at the Alliance Française in Dar es Salaam.
Oh, in Dar es Salaam. I thought it was the Alliance Française right here in Nairobi.
No. Yeah, in Dar.
All right. Thank you so much for coming to the show. It was a pleasure hosting you. Maybe if you have a parting shot as we finish.
Thank you, Vivian. Well, listen, it was a pleasure to be here with Vivian and to be speaking to all of you in Kenya directly. It's wonderful to be back in your country, and I hope you continue to follow me. Social media, Heather Maxwell, Music Time in Africa on Voice of America.
All right. Unique, which song are you playing right now? I want her to bust a little bit of moves as we finish, as we...
What?
Malado.
Malado.
Okay, just play. DJ, we now get into our next interview, and we will be talking about storytelling. I'm sure we love stories. I don't think there's anyone who does not love stories. I mean, it's our day-to-day. Stories za jaba, story gari. Bora tu story, tunapiga story. Well, I am joined by Dr. Michael, who is a storyteller and a medical doctor as well. Dr. Michael Maina, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling this morning?
I'm
it's a bit
great.
chilly.
Yeah, but not too bad.
Were you caught up by the rain while coming?
No, I came in early.
Okay. All right. You are actually a medical doctor by profession?
I am. So it's something that I liked when I was finishing high school. So I studied medicine at the University of Nairobi. I did 6 years. I did my internship at Garissa. Currently, I work in Kenyatta National Hospital, the Accident and Emergency Department.
All right. I have not seen many sciences people having a creative side. So, I mean, you're a storyteller, so it means you also have, that creative side in you. Did that come easily, or when did that come for you?
Well, personally, I think you have to diversify as much as you can. Try to do as many things that express yourself. I am passionate about medicine, but there are also other things I do. I love storytelling because you always do it. Whether you are in an interview, talking to your friends, on a date. So it's something I enjoy doing. Plus also the economy stuff, so you have to do one or two things here and there.
Yeah. When we talk about storytelling, what does it exactly mean?
Storytelling is basically just portraying a bit of your life to someone else as honestly as you can, and maybe at times, as you said, ribaza jaba, no, for entertainment also.
Yeah. I believe storytelling has its power. According to you as Michael, what is the power in storytelling?
For me, the thing I find the most fascinating about storytelling, you can express your life to someone else, and you can also get the view back, as opposed to just telling someone something or maybe giving some numbers or statistics. Storytelling, it gives a face to the problem. It makes one empathize with you, and you also get a new perspective of life. I think you connect lives by storytelling.
Yeah. How does one become a storyteller? Because you are a storyteller. How does one become a storyteller? Is everyone a storyteller? How does one become a storyteller?
I believe everyone is a storyteller because in our day-to-day interactions, at the office, with friends, everywhere, you share stories, you talk about your day, interesting events. I believe it's in everybody, but the way the Moth does it, for example, I joined in around 2019. There was a workshop that took place virtually. It was during COVID time. So it was really nice. They showed us how you can structure a story to make it more systematic, how to tell it, some skills that you can use. And basically I just went on with that, and here we are.
Yeah. Can we use storytelling to change some behavioral things? Can we use it to change the community? And how maybe are you doing that?
For me, the biggest impact I found storytelling was while I was in university. I was the country coordinator for the International Youth Alliance for Family Planning, and we did a lot of advocacy work. And when you go to stakeholders' office and you try to get them to change a policy or to do something, you give figures and maybe they can't see the face. It just sounds a bit cliche.
Yeah.
But when you give a story, you can personalize it and they can actually relate. For example, we were doing things about teenage pregnancies and HIV and AIDS among young people. If you have a daughter and you hear about someone else, you can empathize, and it really helps in advocacy, for example, in my work. And also as a doctor, when you get in with a patient, the most important thing is history taking. That's basically listening to the story of the patient. They tell you about how the condition started, and by getting that information, you can come to a diagnosis, and that's actually the most critical part, as opposed to labs and maybe imaging.
I want us to get into the Moth now. Tell us what the Moth is all about for someone who's hearing about it for the very first time.
So the Moth is a wonderful organization. It started in 1997. There was a gentleman called George Green. He was from Georgia and he had gone to New York. And he missed how he'd stay late at night with his friends, with the lights there and the moths buzzing close, telling each other stories, you know. And so he decided to bring it to New York. He actually started in his living room. He invited people over, and everybody just shared their stories, and it caught on. And then in 2014, there's the Global Community Program. So they branched out of the US, got into Africa, other places in the world, and basically they've been continuing developing stories and shaping storytellers up to this date. Yes.
You normally have an annual event for the Moth. There's one that is happening, this year's event is happening on Saturday on the 4th. Tell us about that particular event. What happens in this event?
So it's a lovely event. I'd actually encourage everyone to attend. It's on Saturday at Catholic University from 8 p.m. But the doors are open at 6:15. Cocktails can be had. So it's a series of storytellers who will come one after the other. You tell a personal story about your life, something that pertains to you personally. And it's around 10 to 15 minutes each story from diverse groups of people, everybody and everyone. So it's really entertaining, can give you a new perspective of life, maybe see new things differently, and also just have a nice time.
Yeah, it's happening on Saturday at the Catholic University. Is it free? Is there an entrance fee?
There's an entrance fee. If you book earlier, it's 1,500. For students, it's 1,000. But at the gate, it's 2,000. So I encourage everyone to book earlier. You can get your tickets at Kenya Buzz.
Okay. You're one of the storytellers who will be there. Can you maybe tell us about what you will be talking about? Just a bit, without, giving away too much.
If you're curious, I'd ask you to buy a ticket. But it's my second time. Maybe I can tell you about my first story.
Okay.
So my first story was about the first time I fell in love. So in high school, it was a boarding school, and in a boys' school, you wake up, you see a boy, you go to bed, you see a boy, and then we had this event.
Yeah.
So it was like a sporting event. Then I saw this girl. She looked like an angel from heaven. Yeah. So at this time, you're confused. You don't know anything about girls. Your friends who are also single, you give you dating advice that doesn't make sense. And basically, I was confused. But our physics teacher actually gave us some advice. And one thing I like about that story, at the time, I was going through a heartbreak. Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember it was really bad. I was shown things like
character development.
By the way, I'm still waiting to be called for graduation because I went through a full course with honors.
Uliyepigwa character kwanzia high school, bro. It's been
no, when I was telling the story at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the time I was in I was pessimistic, bitter, but when telling the story, I was a bit introspective and I kind of learned how to love again, get the optimism. So that's one thing that I also like about stories. Yeah, they teach you about yourself and you reflect about it and they better you as a person.
Yeah. How does it feel being, in the presence of an audience telling your story? Everyone is silent. They're just listening to you tell your story. How is that for you when you're on that stage?
I think for the first time, it was a bit frightening. The problem wasn't the audience. The problem was the lights. I wasn't used to it.
I hope these ones are not messing with you.
It's good.
Okay.
But whenever you tell your stories, you tell them in front of someone. So I just have this perspective. These are people who are here to listen to something I have to say. And after a while, you just enjoy yourself and you narrate your story as it is.
Is that something you do before getting on stage to tell your story?
Because we usually do some rehearsals and maybe to deal with the nerves, a deep breath here and there. It's good.
Would you say that as a country we are embracing storytelling as a thing?
I believe so. For example, in your line of work, you basically tell stories to the Republic and it helps people get a closer perspective. For example, when you hear there's a crisis somewhere in the country and then you see that person themselves being in that situation, asking for help, it makes you a bit more empathetic. Also, Kenyans have very nice stories. I really enjoy hanging out with my friends. They tell me stories. I laugh for 3 days, even when I'm alone. Kenyans really embrace storytelling, and I'd encourage as many young people as possible, actually people of all ages, to share their stories and also get involved in the Moth.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Moth, when you have such an event like the one that will be happening on Saturday, are you given themes on what to talk about? Is it a freestyle kind of thing where you all of you as storytellers are just told you'll come give us a story? What's the guidance when you're being chosen, first of all, to come tell the story? Are you given a theme? How do they go about that?
Yeah, there's a theme for along all the storytellers, and the story is aligned towards a theme. So it's like really nice, and you can get different perspectives about it. Yeah, so from different storytellers. Yeah.
So maybe what's the theme for this year?
This year, basically, it's around maybe hope, optimism going forth. Things are a bit difficult, for example, in the country, and you have to move forward in your life and try to make the best out of everything.
Yeah. And you just say that, and I feel like storytelling can really get someone out of, when they're in the pit mentally. Would you say so? Would you say storytelling is part of mental health advocacy, or can be used rather in mental health advocacy? It can work better while using storytelling to advocate for mental wellness.
Exactly. For example, in the traditional African societies, there wasn't psychiatrists or psychologists, but the community will be able to enable the mental health by sharing stories. People will meet every time around the fire, every day. You share your stories, what you've gone through, and the whole community is invested in you. And I think that's something we should also embrace. Opening up about your issues. It's been sad. We've seen the rise in suicide rates, and people rarely share as they think people won't empathize. But I'd like to encourage everyone just to share with whomever. It could be your family, your friends, professional help when needed. It's always good to share. It helps with both advocacy and personal mental health. Yes.
Are there challenges when it comes to storytelling?
There are challenges.
Yeah.
For example, the stories that we do are personal stories. So, for example, it can be a situation that you still haven't processed fully, or that you're still healing from. That can be sort of an issue. And also, at times when you're telling stories, people ask you questions. For example, my first story, after I told the story about how I fell in love and met this girl, people after the story were coming and asking, are you guys still together? And I was like, no, she's married to someone else and has children. Yeah, so it was a bit weird. But it's always nice to share stories. Despite the barriers, I think it's you get more pros than cons.
Yeah. And since in or at the Moth, you tell your own personal stories, don't you feel like sometimes it infringes on your privacy? Because, okay, it's up to you to tell the story, so you choose what to say and what not to say. But does it get to a point where you feel like, am I telling too much? Because I know there are some times when we are just seated with my girls and we are beating stories here and there, and there are things I say and I'm like, did I really need to say that? I'm giving out too much. Do you ever get to a point where you feel like, maybe I gave out a lot?
So the thing is, you share what you're comfortable with. Vulnerability is a very important thing. For example, it's something that I've had to learn, being open, in touch with my emotions. It's difficult learning, but telling stories, it's actually very relieving, because you might have some issues here and there, but once you say it, it gets off your chest, you feel fresh, you feel relieved, and you also feel a bit brave, because it's not very easy opening yourself to others, especially in an audience and a crowd.
Yeah, so there's no time you've regretted telling a particular story and you just feel like, this one I'd better just kept it to myself.
No. Maybe once or twice with friends, but not like with the Moth.
All right. Okay, cool. Maybe a parting shot as we wind up with the interview.
Everyone, the Moth event, it's on Saturday, 8 p.m., but the doors open 6:15. It's at Catholic University at the auditorium. Get your tickets at Kenya Buzz. For students, it's 1,000. Online, it's 1,500. At the gate, it's 2,000. See you there.
All right. You know that we as Kenyans love stories. As I said, stories Ajaba is something that we all have had. And yeah, if you want to just go sit down and get to hear of people's stories and get to just listen to people tell us of their personal stories, which is always really, really refreshing to just sit and listen to someone tell you a story. You know where to go. The event is happening on Saturday at the Catholic University. So grab your tickets and make sure that you head over there on Saturday. Thank you so much for coming to the show, and all the best on your storytelling on Saturday.
Thanks.
All right, we take a very short break. Don't you go too far. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. The show continues. My name is Mike Migwe, and right about now, we are going to delve into matters saving. We are talking about the culture of saving in the country. And to help me in this conversation, I'm joined by three guests in the studio. I'm joined by Claudia Ngaira, who is the Capacity Development Financial Senior Advisor at DSIK. I'm also joined by Joan Atuhura, who is the Head of Finance and Administration at ACOSCA. And I'm also joined by one gentleman who is David Mukaru, and he is the CEO at Caritas Microfinance Bank. Karibuni kwa studio. Asante, mnaendeleaje?
Vyema.
Now, to start off, savings is one of the important things or when it comes to global economic development, and even at a personal level. I'd love to know, what is your opinion on the general savings culture in the country? Let me start with you, Madam Claudia.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes.
My personal opinion that may resonate to many others about savings culture in Kenya is that chances are that savings culture in Kenya is not as rich as it would have been elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because of so many reasons. People are finding it hard to save with reasons and excuses. Like people will say, I wouldn't save because I don't have enough income, or I don't know where to save or what to save, or even why should I even be saving. So generally my own opinion could be that savings is not as an enriched culture in Kenya like any other that you would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bwana David, what is your opinion in so far as savings in the country, the saving culture in the country is concerned?
Thank you very much for the question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start by saying that this is a week we call the savings week in the world.
Yes.
And 31st of October, it was the savings, the World Saving Day.
Yes.
And this is a tradition that emanated all the way from 1924,
mm-hmm.
when a group of savings banks met somewhere in Milan,
yes,
Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And what came out very strongly then was the importance of savings. And after the Congress, they agreed that a specific day should be set aside to celebrate savings. And savings as a culture
mm-hmm.
is what now you are asking.
Yes.
What is the importance of savings, and why are Kenyans not savings? Let me put it into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Only when you compare the savings rate
mm-hmm.
In Kenya,
mm-hmm.
it's only about 13%.
Yes.
Savings rate.
Yes.
This is savings compared to what you make as an income.
Yes.
And in Kenya is the gross domestic income.
Yeah.
When you look at that compared to Africa, which is about 26%, then you can see Kenya is savings in Kenya is very low. When again you come down to East Africa,
mm-hmm.
Kenya is also lagging behind in terms of savings.
Mm-hmm.
Because East Africa, the average savings in East Africa is over 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenya is saving only 13%. So this is a challenge. And it's what you've asked. What are the issues? It's about culture. Kenyans are consumers, mostly. They emphasize on consumption. And this is where the challenge comes in. We want to consume, we borrow to consume. We get into debt. And even as a country, because savings will talk about an individual, savings will talk about a country, savings will talk about an institution. As Caritas Microfinance Bank, we focus on the family. And we also now go down and ask, how do we now support the family to be able to say? But the culture is very low, and this is one area that we really need to improve as a country.
Well, Joanne, I'd love to know, over time, the financial sector has experienced a low uptake of savings products and services. How can this be reversed?
Well, there's been a low savings culture, and of course we know that to reverse this, it takes a multifaceted approach, whereby we need interventions from the government, we need interventions from educational sectors, we need interventions from other stakeholders, NGOs that are geared towards seeing that savings as a culture is changed. And this will be maybe through offering financial literacy. We like as a COSCA, as an institution, we promote financial inclusion, and this is done through capacity building. And we've seen a lot of change in the services we've seen a lot of change in behavior based on the services that we offer through capacity building, through trainings. And specifically, we have, through the partnership we have with DSIK, this the word is a little German, so Claudia can mention it better. So we've seen that through the micro business games that we have, these are simulation games where we are able to impact financial behavior of a member, and of course we look at the decisions that the members take and how these impact their overall financial health. We also look at the savings games that have been instrumental in promoting behavior in terms of the decisions you make today. How do they affect your tomorrow? How do they affect your future? How do they affect your financial resilience as an individual? So what I'm trying to say is education will be key in changing the behavior, in improving the savings culture behavior, and also looking at the financial habits. That too has to be looked into. And of course we also look at incentives, policies in place that can also help address gaps that are existing currently.
So maybe a person watching right now would love to know, what would a favorable savings environment look like? Let me start with you.
A favorable savings environment is one that enables or that provides an environment where a member can easily save for the future, where a member can easily save and invest so that they have a better future ahead. And of course, this is influenced by a number of factors, things to do with financial access. How easy is it to walk into a financial institution and open an account? How is the entry? Is it easy to get into, say, a circle and say, I want to join this circle? Do you have the means to join the circle? Are there restrictions like minimum balances, things to do with minimum share capital that is required? Are those a hindrance? So for me, a favorable environment is one that makes it easy for members to come into the sector. And of course, looking at the financial access, we have the finances, the financial access circles, banks available. We also do have issues to do with the regulation. There should be favorable regulation in place to foster growth of the savings, more likely circles, savings and credit associations. We also look at other aspects like education. There should be financial literacy that will enable members to be able to make good decisions or judgments for their future tomorrow.
Now, Bwana David, even as we talk about saving, there's someone out there, when you mention savings, the first thing that comes to their mind is investment. They think saving is an investment. Maybe it would be better if you differentiate the two, savings and investment.
Savings is an investment. Let me start from there. because savings is what you put aside after you have consumed. So you get an income, you have some, you save, because many challenges is where you get an income, you spend, and then what remains is what you save. What the saving culture we are advocating is where you have a focus. You are saving before you spend. So after you spend, after you save, the question now is, does that savings account become an investment? Because that's what you're asking. Do you earn interest on it? Because a savings account should be an investment account.
Yes.
What I should be able to answer for you is the difference between a savings account and a transaction account. Because that's where now the difference comes in. A transaction account is where you put in your money from a business or from a salary.
Yes.
Then a savings account is where now you move that money from a transaction account into a savings account as an investment, so that now you can be able to get some interest on top of it. And interest is very important because it protects that money against inflation.
Yes.
So savings, after you put it in an investment where it's a liquid investment, the question now you ask is, what else, where else can I be able to invest this money in? Various people will put it back in a business after a year or so. Various people will put that money in a focused area. For instance, if you are saving if you are a young man, probably you are saving to go back to school, then you'll put that money in a school fees. You are saving to buy a laptop because you're a student, then you buy that laptop. So you invest in something that you had planned for. So target saving is very, very important. Saving for its own sake is really a challenge. Yes. And you must be able to ask yourself, why do you save and what do you want to save for? There are various areas that you can be able to save on.
Still on you, Kenyan market has several innovative financial products that in many ways affect how people save. Have these innovations affected savings within your markets?
Yes, both positively and negatively.
Please.
Positively, I can say the digital era we are living in has exposed the rural people who otherwise would not have had financial access to be able to start saving.
Yes.
Through their mobile phones.
Yes.
Through various digital channels.
Yes.
And this has increased savings in the country. And it is a good innovation. So to that extent, I would say digital has come out very strongly. Other innovations have been agency banking, which has spread all its wings across the country. Deep in the rural area, you'll find an agent, either a Safaricom agent or a SACCO agent or a commercial bank agent or a microfinance agent. So those are innovations. Those are technologies that have deepened access to financial services and savings to that extent. That's what we consider as the last mile of financial service connectivity. Other innovations have also impacted negatively on savings. One is the emphasis on borrowing. You see, when we emphasize too much on borrowing, then we erode the culture of savings.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the areas as banks that we are really focusing on, that we must be able to be savings-led. We must be able to ensure that our people save. They don't just look at a loan. When you see a TV, when you are walking around the street, do you see yourself saving towards that TV, or do you see yourself borrowing to take that TV? And the culture now is we should see ourselves saving to acquire that resource that we actually want to do. The other innovation that has impacted negatively is the betting, the culture of betting in this country. It's so high. It's so high that it's affecting negatively even the culture of investment. That people now believe that when you bet, that's when you get a lump sum of money for you to invest in. That is a fallacy. And we as Kenyans must be responsible enough and ethical enough to tell our people that it is savings that you are able to put together a lump sum of money to be able to invest, and not betting. Betting is gambling, and we must call it the way it is, that betting is not saving, betting is gambling. And we must be able to transform our people and change the way they perceive savings vis-a-vis betting.
Yes. Let me come to you, Claudia. And I'll throw this question to both of you, but let me start with you. What are your sectors doing to leverage on these innovations to promote savings?
Generally, the microfinance from our end, microfinance from our end is both the SACCO sector and the microfinance sectors. And on this issue of leveraging the challenges that come with innovations, I know there are quite a number, but from DSK where we sit and stand is that first, we are deep into trainings, and our trainings are very interesting. There are simulation games that somebody can easily train and learn as you learn as you do. We call them games because it's an innovative way of training, where there's an aspect are given to you and then you do it practically as you gain the knowledge, and also in addition to that now you do the know-how sessions that are attached to what you've been doing. And so from our end we do lots of innovative trainings. That will be the key of it for this season is the savings game, where a family setup, you're given a family story, a family setup of an average of 21 years, then people are taken through what are likely things that are going to happen within 21 years of a family. Somebody's going to be born, go to school, get married, get old. As you do that, how do you also inculcate savings? Like, is a family able to save for their medical bills? Is a family able to save for something like their, for example, wedding or business? What are the children being taught as they grow up in that setup? Do they go to school and just if somebody wants a laptop, they're given because it is my right, or can I do something alongside my parents so that I can get this thing like I'm earning it? So one of the innovative ways for us from our end is the savings games and any other business games that we do. But now to the microfinance institutions, there are so many other that people have picked up as innovative ways. Like for instance, if I will speak for, I'm both a client of a microfinance institution and also a SACCO, and it's very easy that we are able to just save from your phone. I can easily send money to my SACCO from my phone. It is innovation. It would have been, I would have been required to carry that money and take it to the bank, and as you know, alongside the streets of town, I will buy something, I will waste that money. But because I am at a liberty of sending using my phone, it has helped me like now be able to save. There are platforms in institutions that encourage savings, like I understand there is a 52 weekly challenge that is an innovative way that you are motivated to tabulate your savings so that by the end of the year you have this amount of money. So the innovation school have been brought a lot of challenges in terms of maybe multi-borrowing and in decreased savings. But if you are purposeful and intentional as yourself, you will easily save a lot of money. And there are quite a number of platforms. There are saving apps, there are saving digital lending platforms that you not only save, but you also borrow from your credit limits.
Yes. Joanne, if even as you answer the question on how you are doing to leverage on these innovations to promote savings, I'd love also to know the available products that you have to enhance this culture.
Okay, thank you very much. So, getting back to the question on leveraging innovations to promote savings in the SACCOs, we've seen SACCOs introduce digital services whereby they have online and digital online and banking services. We've seen SACCOs get into online applications for loans. You no longer need to go to the SACCOs to queue and seek signatures, but we are seeing lots of SACCOs getting onto the technology and trying to use the technology to advance services to the members. We're seeing also automation that has been made for savings, like, you know, on maybe per week, just deduct maybe 1,000 and save it to my account. So we are seeing a lot of automation that has been taken, that has been done. And we're also seeing ATM services where banks are collaborating and integrating their services with the banks and other fintechs in order to offer services to their members. And we're also seeing SACCOs now getting into opening up chat boxes in order to support members and to enhance member engagement, so that then there is that dual communication, because as you know, for SACCOs, the member is the owner. So there is need for constant engagement and communication between the two. We have also seen, of course, there are also all the social media platforms where members can lodge maybe any challenges they're faced with or any queries that they do have, and there's been robust and increased response in terms of the engagement between the member and the SACCO. And of course, this has opened up a window of opportunity for inclusion in terms of being attractive to the youth, because we are seeing that SACCOs, as they are right now, we are faced with the challenge of aging membership, and if we are not deliberate in coming up with approaches or adopting technologies that can actually make our institutions attractive to the youth, then we are likely to stagnate or even diminish at the end of the day or vanish. Yeah, so what we're seeing here is innovation has been quite key in embracing the growth in the sector. And when it comes to some of the products that are being offered, I think basically I'll talk about the regular savings products. There is also the fixed deposit products, whereby you're given an incentive or a return on investment based on how long you're saving. We're also seeing holiday savings and so forth, but there are quite a number of savings products that the SACCOs have actually come up with in order to ensure that the culture of saving is elevated. And of course, I know we also have the diaspora SACCOs that are also helping communities outside Kenya to be able to save.
Okay. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at how regulatory framework relates to saving. We take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya, and we are talking about the savings culture in Kenya. Before we went on a break, we were talking about the products you have for to enhance savings. Bwana David, if you can comment on that.
Let me comment on that on behalf of Association of Microfinance Institutions,
please,
where I am the vice chair. We have a membership of over 70 institutions that have been in this country for a long time and contributed significantly to the development of the savings culture. We have what we call the credit-only microfinance institution that provide loans, but they also have an underlying savings culture strategy. Where the members are asked to save first. You save first, and then based on the savings that you have, you are able to receive an X amount of loan. And this is something that has happened since the 70s in this country. So it has contributed immensely to the culture, to the savings culture of this country. That is one. Secondly, are the microfinance banks that have leveraged on technology, as it has been mentioned, leveraged on technology, that banking is no longer where you go, but what you do where you are. Anytime, anywhere, you can be able to access financial services through digital. So Microfinance banks have invested immensely on digital platforms to just enable our members be able to save. Most microfinance institutions have come up with specific products.
Yes.
One, they have what you call a transaction account, where they encourage you to open and transact from, so that you don't mix it with what we call a savings account, where you now put money aside for a rainy day, as they say, kidogo kidogo ujaza kibaba. They have various products around the savings area. Where I sit as a CEO, Caritas Microfinance Bank, we have what we call maono. Maono, you know, vision. What is your vision? Maono yako ni gani? Na unataka kufanya nini ndani ya muda fulani? So what exactly do you want to do in future? So we have, and there are various institutions have various terminologies, various names, various products to just be able to encourage the people. And those products are packaged in a way that members are able to save without paying.
Yes.
You know, regularly. They're able to save from their mobile phones.
Yes.
They're able to save from their village, either through an agent. So we have various products.
Yes.
And we also have what we call non-financial services, which is now financial literacy. That we have been training, we have been sensitizing our people on financial literacy. And financial literacy is on how do you behave when you have money, and how should you behave when you have that money.
Yes.
And what are the principles of financial literacy? How does financial literacy assist you to be a better person? For instance, we encourage households, we encourage families to have at least a minimum of 6 times the amount of saving put together of what they spend on a monthly basis. So, so that's the first goal, that for you to build resilience, for you to build to ensure that you don't fall into poverty immediately you are sacked, or immediately the rains don't come in, then how do you plan for it? And we encourage them that if you spend a total of X per month, multiply that by 6 and ensure that you are saving towards that first goal. Once you attain the first goal of resilience as a family, then now you can be able to move to other activities. So savings for us is very critical, and we are very, very targeted as Amphi to ensure that works.
John, I'd like to know, is the regulatory framework right now conducive for the promotion of savings culture in the country?
Yes, the regulatory framework is conducive for promoting growth and stability of SACCOs. We've seen over time there's been growth in the SACCO sector, and this mainly has been attributed towards having a robust regulatory framework. As a COSCA, we are the conveners of the Regulatory Roundtable for Africa, and it is an avenue where we get to meet various policymakers from different countries, and we get to discuss issues affecting policy of SACCOs and advocate for fair play, and of course with bearing in mind that consumer protection is key at this point. And of course this again hinges on the fact that we are interested in seeing that the savings that the members contribute to the SACCOs are safe and sound. And as a regulator, the regulatory framework comes into put in place prudential regulations and supervisory guidelines that are really key to ensure that there is stability in the sector, and that we do not see abuse, we see strengthened governance structures. And of course, in the past we've seen that most of the SACCO sectors have been affected by poor governance, which is a major hindrance in most of the African countries. In Africa, we only have up to about 7 countries that have a SACCO-specific regulation, and the trend has been that the SACCOs, the countries that do have these regulations, we've seen a trajectory growth in the SACCOs, in the savings, due to the regulation compared to countries that have not actually gone into regulating the sector as effectively as Kenya has done.
Okay. Claudia, I'd love to know, as we conclude, I'd love to know what you are currently doing at your at institutional level to promote savings culture and sustainable savings culture through your partnerships.
Thank you very much. From where I sit, we have quite a number of activities we are doing with our partners, that is ACOSCA and AMFI, to reach out to clients, that person at the bottom of the pyramid, that person who might not even be known as much. So what we do currently in regards to saving is we are conducting business games, and this is called the savings game, a simulation way of teaching the family setup how to increase their savings, how to save specifically for a certain goal, how to achieve their goals. In addition to that, since we're almost done, we also are working on having financial education in Kenya. We had submitted our documentation to the Ministry of Education so that if the government can allow, then we can spread this savings knowledge even to primary school kids.
Yes. Bwana David, your call to action in as far as savings is concerned.
One, from AMFI, we encourage our members to save.
Yes.
And save for a target.
Yes.
Save for a purpose.
Yes.
Two, we encourage Kenyans to invest.
Yes.
The amounts of money they have invested,
Yes.
grow their businesses through that savings.
Yes.
Four, we encourage families, so those are households, to train their children to start saving from a very young age.
Yes.
That way we will be able to build resilience as a country.
Yes.
And we should be able to ensure that the lack of unemployment for our youth is a thing of the past.
Yes.
Number five is to the farmers also, that we need to encourage savings at the farming community level, so that now we are able to grow resilience in terms of food security, and continuously develop the culture of saving in this country, to ensure that saving is a very, very important component of our lives.
Madam Claudia, your call to action.
My call to action to everyone is savings is not very hard. It's not actually hard. Let us all embrace a positive attitude towards saving. Let the partnership and the government work hand in hand so that all of us are geared in towards savings for a better future for all of us.
Joanna Tuhura, as we conclude.
Yeah, my call to action is directed towards two segments, to the individuals and to the circles. And to the individuals, let us save for a brighter tomorrow, start early, and of course save regularly in small amounts. It still counts. Set clear goals as to why you're saving. Save for long term, not short term. And also think about the future. We need to have resilient communities as we move forward. To the circles, collaborate, enhance partnership with other institutions to drive your agenda as a saving institutions. Cooperate amongst each other so that you're not looking at each other as competitors. And of course, inclusivity is key. Let's be open to everyone and embrace everyone the way they come.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for gracing our show. We've been talking to David Mukaru, who is the CEO of Caritas Microfinance Bank, and Claudia Ngaira, who is the Capacity Development and Financial Senior Advisor at DSIK, and Joanne Atuhura, Head of Finance and Administration at ACOSCA. My name is Mike Megwe. Good Morning Kenya takes a short break. Vivian will be right back to take you to through the next segment. Good morning.
Entertainment Thursday, and we get to continue entertaining you from wherever it is that you are watching the show from. Now, I am joined on set by two amazing gospel artists. On my immediate left is Mwanko, and on my far left is Teacher Jacob. Welcome to the show. Hi, Mwanko.
Hi, Vivian. How are you?
Mzima kabisa. How are you doing this morning?
Thanks for having us, and I appreciate it. Yes.
If you can just tell us something about Mwanko.
Yeah, Mwanko is a gospel artist, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. I am also, head of public relations and communication at Pan-African eyewear brand called La Pair, where I oversee over 7 countries, and I'm also president of Honor Foundation, where we are based in more than 6 countries. Yeah, so that's pretty much what Mwanko is all about.
Amazing.
But most likely the gospel artist that I am.
That is what you're pushing here today.
Of course.
The musician, Mwanko.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Now, Teacher Jacob, wewe ni mwalimu hadi umekuja na miwani zako. Tell me something about Teacher Jacob.
I'm Teacher Jacob. I'm a teacher by profession.
Oh, you're actually a teacher by profession?
Yes,
See jokes?
See jokes.
Okay. Pole teacher.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I teach in Harambe Primary School, Buruburu. And also, I do music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it like doing music? Do your students know? Do your pupils know that you're actually a teacher?
Yes, they know. In fact, the video that we're promoting, the song that we're promoting right now, I featured them. So they know I'm a teacher.
Yes, I've just watched that video. Actually, they are the only ones in that video. It's you, and they're the pupils from your school?
Yes, they are.
How is that work relations with them? Them knowing that teacher anakuanga msanii, but bado ni teacher. Time yenye anakufunza, what subject do you teach?
I teach mathematics,
hey.
Music.
Mwalimu Math. Hapa ni wapi? Hapa. Mwalimu Math amefika penye tunauliza hapa ni wapi?
Mnatuingilia sana.
So how is that relationship with the children?
I see it's just good. It just requires discipline and understanding. Then you're good to go.
Yeah.
There's nothing much,
Yeah.
Just discipline and understanding. Yeah.
Of course, you expect a teacher to mention something to do with discipline. Of course.
Definitely. Yes.
Mwanko, sasa hapa tuko na walimu. Tukicheza kidogo tunaweza kuambiwa wewe. You can be reprimanded. Actually, now that you say that, Teacher Jacob, before I come back to you, Mwanko amesema you can't make it. Do you feel like Kenyan teachers always put people down? I don't agree with that because I've had very amazing teachers in my life, and my dad was also a teacher. So when people are talking about teachers, mara nyingi kwa social media tunaona tu wakionyesha vile, mwalimu wangu hata ndo aulizwe hapa ni wapi. It's because they try to show you that you can't get anywhere in life. What do you feel about that notion, you yourself being a teacher?
I think at that time that watu walikuwa naongea hivyo, maybe I feel like the teacher had seen something negative, or the teacher was trying to correct you. So the teacher at that time is seeing you as someone who is making mistake, and he or she does not want you to make the same mistake or repeat the mistake. So it's just trying to guide you. But then, people tend, like when you're growing up, ukirekebishwa, or when you are being told to move into the right path, then you come up and saying, this teacher is boring, such kind of thing. So, and then, our work is not like to make sure that you make it, we teachers will make it big. We just want learners or those people that we are guiding, to move into a certain direction, which is the right one. So when the teacher is guiding you, teacher ana ubaya.
Okay.
It's just perception that maybe we may make it, maybe unapata pesa mingi kushinda teacher, you're going for holiday, and then unaanza kuingilia mwalimu. But definitely we are good. We are called to serve by God.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Teachers are good people.
Definitely.
Yes, Mwanko?
I've got amazing ones.
Yeah.
And this one is my goal. So.
I want to get back to music, which is why we're here today. And Mwanko, I want to know, what are your earliest memories of music?
Oh, wow.
When can you say you realized, okay, there's something called music and I actually like it?
Yeah, that's a very good, interesting question, of course. My first encounter with music happened when I was like 5 years old. And 5 years old, it was before I left Kenya to, because, I'm a cocktail African, so my dad Kenyan, my mom is half South African and Congolese. So I left Kenya for South Africa, and then it happened to the fact that my mom was born-again Christian, so she took me to church. And then the first encounter I had with music was when I was 5. So it was during, Sunday school where children were supposed to, present some singing or talent. I happened to sing, and everyone was like, oh, wow. So the pastor made me integrate the choir by then, and I started as the drummer. I started drumming after
at 5?
Yeah, at 5, for real. I started drumming, and then on top of that, I learned how to play guitar, and then singing is natural, so it just popped out. By then, what made me stay in the ministry, it's actually songwriting when I started. And by the time I was 20 years old, I met Eric Smith. I don't know if you know this song. Yes, Eric Smith. So you will see me in those videos. So I wrote partly, I worked with Eric Smith, and then from that we won Groove Award. After Groove Award, to the spotlight, and I got the attention of Nathaniel Bassi. I don't know if you know Nathaniel Bassi.
Of course,
yes.
who doesn't know Nathaniel?
Yeah, so I traveled with Nathaniel Bassi. I stayed like 9 months in Nigeria, where we worked on an album. I don't know if you know this song, Summer, Winter, or Everywhere I Go. Yeah, so from there I gathered this experience internationally, where now I wanted to come back. I came back. When I came back to Kenya, I was like, let me put this in good use and export the Swahili language to the extreme world, and that's, I think, what I'm trying to do.
Amazing, amazing. You've given us actually a history of yourself in music. Now, if you may just do the same, tell me when exactly you first encountered music and how that journey has been for you as Teacher Jacob.
It started because my father is a pastor, so growing up, he could take me to church. Same, my mother was also back then a church secretary. So she was also in choir.
Yeah.
So she could carry me along. So from there I gained experience. Sorry. And then as that was going on, we enrolled to some musical classes in primary school. Then we started continuing, keeping it up, and then until it reached a point where by now I started saying, in high school, I started saying, now let me try to write music. And I found myself just writing music, and then I decided, why don't I try to get into the studio? Then I started, and then it keeps on going on. So it's not like something that I just woke up and said, I want to do it. It's something that is in me, The parents, just like Yasia, as Sia said, it starts with the parents, or those people that are guiding you, and also listening to many music. Like I listened to, when I was growing up, I was listening to reggae a lot. Yeah, so it just keep on going on me. But then you listen to reggae
kwa nyumba ya pasta?
Ndio, kama yuko. Yeah, kama dadia yuko. Kama dadia yuko. But we used to argue a lot, this direction you want to take when you are in teens and so on, when you're growing, this direction you want to take, and your parents also want to do this.
Yeah, and speaking about that, now that both of you started music in the church, and I feel like for most artists, almost all the artists, okay, not all of them, but most of them, they started music in the church. Even for the secular artists, they started back when they were in church, and then they decided to, get their own way and, do secular music and not gospel music. But the fact that you started in class, at the age of 5 in church, and you're still doing it in the church, would you say it has been easy to sustain, the, what do I call it, the spirituality and just being in church? Has it been difficult for you in any way? Have you encountered any struggles being a gospel artist?
Yeah, of course. I believe there's no journey without obstacles. If a journey is too small, that means you are going to the wrong direction. Yeah, so we've encountered a lot of, personally I've encountered a lot of ups and downs with my music and also my career overall. So it happened to me like I was offered a lot of opportunity to work with amazing artists who happen to do open music. Let me not call it secular. So they happen to do open music. So for me, I feel like, yeah. So music is a universe where, you know, people come together to express what they feel and to make use of the talent to, you know, entertain people in different subject and messages. So for me, it's gospel. So why I do gospel, it's not because I do it to entertain or for fun. I do it because it is a calling, first of all. And that calling for me, as an evangelist that I am, I have to evangelize and taking, you know, the Bible to the world through music, because music is the easiest way to communicate to people without having to interfere with the barrier that we call language. You know, everyone in different countries, in different regions can literally understand music without having to listen or to understand the words that is being sung or spoken in the song. So probably that's it.
All right. Yeah. Teacher Jacob, I want you to tell us about the song that you're promoting right now. What is it all about? What was the inspiration behind it? And where we can find that song?
The song I'm promoting right now is called Unastahili Sifa. It's a song that I wrote after going through a lot of problems, challenges here and there. Like surviving a lot of attacks in Garissa. I studied in Garissa Teachers College. So coming through, growing up in the ghetto in Kibra, you see those challenges, your friends are dying here and there. Until now, early this year, I was lucky I got employment by the government. So when I got that employment after trying for so long, I decided now it's time now, I praise God. So I decided to write that song, Unastahili Sifa, to give praises and thanks to God. And it's a song that I'm promoting. It's part of EP that I'm also pushing. Because I also have EP out. And so it's basically just a song that I wrote thanking God. And the journey has been so long to be here today, especially if I can stand here today here at KBC TV. It's really amazing. I really appreciate you guys. And the song is out on everywhere. YouTube, everywhere, Boomplay, any streaming services that you can find.
All right. And where do they find you on social media?
Social media, they just find me on IG, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as I am Teacher Jacob, aka Mwalimu Msani.
Hi, I'm Mfuate Mwalimu Msani. All right. Amko, you can tell us about the song that you're promoting and where we can find it, the inspiration behind it, and where we can find it, as you also give us your socials.
Yeah, of course. The song is called Ushuhuda, which means testimony. And the Ushuhuda vibe, the song is emphasizing on the life overall as a roller coaster life is. And we're looking at the song where I'm speaking about the plan God has for the humanity, especially Christians, where we say anatengeneza ushuhuda is crafting your testimony. So you are still in God's plan, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. God is still with you, and give him time, because God is not a God of fast food, and give him time to prepare something delicious, something good for you to enjoy. I love that.
God is not a God of fast food.
Yes, of course. And yeah, so the song is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find me on all social media. I go by the name Mwanko Cares, yani Mwanko Anajali. So God bless you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us right here on Good Morning Kenya Entertainment Thursday, and all the very best in everything that you do.
Thank you.
All right, that was Mwanko and Teacher Jacob. And right now we are taking a very short musical break, but don't you go too far. We'll be back with more. And we are back to continue with Entertainment Thursday right here on Good Morning Kenya. And the songs that you've just been listening to are by the artist Ali B, who actually passed on yesterday. So we are sending condolences to his family members, his friends, and his fans, because, you know, Ali B was quite a big artist, you know. He had really big songs like Bembea that we've just listened to, the collaboration with Size 8. And one of the biggest songs that he did, and I'm sure my guests in studio will agree with me, that Maria was one big Maria. Right? That was one very, very, very big song. He got to entertain us, and now he's passed on. May his soul rest in peace, and condolences to all the people who got to interact with him. Now, on to our next set right here. And I am joined by the one, the only Rico Beats. I mean, Rico Beats has done very, 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 very many songs. Sijui ni artist mgani hujawak naye, but he'll be telling us more about that. Rico Beats. And I also have an artist who's joining us on this set as well. He goes by the name King Megan.
Yeah.
Welcome to the studio.
Asante sana.
Mnafilaje asubuhi ya leo?
Tunafeel mzuri sana. Nashukuru Mungu. Weather iko sawa, El Nino bado haijakuja, lakini mvua ina manyunyu, ina maisha ni baraka.
Manyunyu ni baraka, mvua ni baraka.
Yeah.
All right. Kindly tell people about yourself, King.
Yeah. My name is King Megan. I'm an artist. I'm a video producer. I'm an audio producer. I have a studio called KM Records, KM Film. We are located at Jiru. And also I'm an award-winning artist, 2020 Fame Award winner, 2014 Extreme Award winner. I'm also an MC. So I do MC in events. That's me.
All right. I love that you're also a producer, because this conversation was mainly for the producers.
Yeah.
So we're going to engage on that. Rico Beats, tell people about yourself.
Rico Beats, Mr. 808, producer, beatmaker, and a creative entrepreneur. And it's good to be here.
Yeah, you've done big songs, Rico. If I may just start with that, you know, songs like Kanairo Dating by Major. You've done Mazishi, ya Calligraph Jones. I mean, those are big, big songs. If I may just get straight into you telling us what goes into making such hit songs.
Well, it's more of just a personal creativity and, you know, the production skills. So, because, you know, this is our art, so we create every day, and you never really know which song is going to be the one. So it's out of just consistency. Yeah.
So when making songs, there's no particular point in time where you just know this one, this one they will love it.
Yeah, what happens is, yes, we can decide about that in the studio by just how the song feels, you know, the vibe. But ultimately, the fans decide once it's out there.
King Megan,
now
that you're also a producer and an artist as well, by the Rico hata ulikuwa naimba kitambo
sana
hata ulikuwa musician. How did you get into production, and what drew you into production, music production?
First, I'm from Mathare slums, so basically producing a song was very hard. I remember my first song, I had to go to Mjengo construction job to just raise money to produce my song. That was the first inspiration for me to go back to school. With the grace of God, that's when I got my opportunity to join Talanta Institute and learn media production. Also, now I started learning production. So for me, the inspiration was I wanted to also support the uprising artists. That you know, there are other artists that cannot afford 20,000 for an audio or maybe higher price. Because I remember just going to Mjengo just to raise money to produce one single song for months, because Mjengo na jengwa so tatu. So unakula unabaki manzia una do. So at the end of the day, that was my inspiration, also to support the uprising artists that are down there, that are believing to be like others that they see, but they don't have that opportunity. So that was my first inspiration to become a producer.
Motive, sikia nikikuita Motive. Rico Beats, how did you get into production, and what got you into production, considering that you started off in this industry as an artist?
Okay, I was just doing artistry for fun. I was just rapping for fun, but whenever I used to hear music, I just got interested in getting to know how it's made, the beats, the recording, and all that. So out of curiosity, I just started learning online. I bought courses, YouTube University and all. And
you went to YouTube University?
Yeah.
So you didn't go to any school to learn with production?
No, I just did it online.
You taught yourself from scratch?
Yeah. Needs a lot of dedication though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was that? And how long did it take you to like learn and know that now I think I'm good enough, I have enough skills?
It was challenging because I was doing a university degree at UON. So at the same time I was pursuing music. So I had to balance. Yeah.
What were you studying?
I did Bachelor of Economics. Yeah.
You know, there's one thing I have to say. This week, last Thursday and the other Thursday, the people that have hosted on set on Entertainment Thursday, most of them have really, wamekula vitabu. You know, economics is not an easy, you know, I've had doctors here. And I was actually talking to Dr. Ipianya last week, and we were talking about the fact that people assume that people who are in the entertainment industry, mainly music, they really haven't, it was an option simply because they didn't perform well in school.
Oh yeah, mostly. For most people.
People assume that.
Yeah.
Can we demystify that? Is that the case?
Not really. You know, also like he said, you have to go to school to study, or maybe go online to study. So it's like any other school. You have to study and you have to learn. So for me, I believe even the artists out there, they need to be paid. Because they take a lot of time. They go to studio to produce, to write. Also to the producers, they take a lot of hours to just produce good music, good video. So for me, they have to, like you see in America, they say fashion designer, but here we call them tailor. And these guys, they have a lot of money out there. So when we respect our jobs, there will be value in whatever we are doing when we place value. Even Nigerians, you see right now, they're doing good, their producers are doing good, their artists are doing good because they appreciate the art. The government also appreciates, the people appreciate, because also it begins with the people, the consumer, the people who are consuming the music. Like I love his music. When I was behind the scene, I was saying, hey, you know what, the hits that I've made, I'm acknowledging his creativity, his artwork, quality, because he's doing good. His music is all over there. So that is what we need. Let's just appreciate every artwork that is done there. The music producers, the artists, they are going to school, they study, and they are producing quality music there. Let's support them. That's my idea.
Speaking about that, I don't know, while I was doing my research, and I also know that you have, there's a CMO for producers. There's the Kenya Association of Music Producers. Are you in it?
Yeah.
Also, you producers are in it. Are you in it as a producer?
Yeah, not really, but I'm coming there.
Yeah. Do you feel like producers come together? Do you as producers really come together?
On Unity, we have a long way to go because we just have like forums in WhatsApp groups and all that. And whenever we try to plan for some activities, they don't even happen. So we have a long way to go when it comes to Unity.
You still have a long. Maybe what is lacking? Why is it that you don't have unity? Like right now, you guys have met. Like what would make you not, keep that interaction? Have him as a network, him have you as a network. What is ailing the industry? Let me ask that.
For me, I noticed that over a long period of time. Then I just realized that if you want to network with producers, you just have to go like personally and meet and achieve whatever you want to do instead of like moving as a group. I think people just, it's more of a culture over here. I don't know.
Then for me also, I can add on that, it's like artists, most people have that pride of, I am big, I cannot go to you, you have to reach me so that I can talk to you. So everybody wants to make it on their own. Every producer wants to be the best in their own capacity. So you realize they take a lot of time before they reach international, because we are fighting each other, because we want to grow alone, you want to be known alone. So if it's King Megan Records, KM Records, it's all about KM Records. No other production should be known out there. So now that is what kills the industry. We are not acknowledging each other's job. We are not appreciating each other's job. But you see, out there, they are competing in terms of quality and competing in terms of making it international. Here they are competing in terms of pulling you down, not to make it bigger than them. So that is the bigger problem that even artists, apart from producers, they have. If your song is big, somebody does something, your song goes down. So for me, I think that is also killing the industry in Kenya.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge, like I told him, I will repeat it again, he's one of the biggest producers doing quality music out here.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
love his music. I even told him, you know what, we have to work. I have a studio, but I have to work with you. We have to do something together. And that is what we need. Let's work together to achieve international goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How
You see,
do
it's
we
more of a
change that?
culture.
It's more of a culture.
It's so deep-rooted.
It's just
yeah.
how. It's just how we are as
It's
a
just
people.
how we are. You see the way we are,
But we
like
have to change
42
the
tribes in our
mentality.
country, is the way we are divided even in the industry. So,
But that's really sad.
Yeah,
So
it
how
is.
do we change that?
as I've said, you just have to identify like the producers who like align with your sound and your objectives, and then you approach them like one-on-one and you work on something. That's it.
Okay, I hear you on that, and it's really sad to know that
Yeah.
the way you put it, it's like it's just how we are.
It's just-
We as a people just,
we found it like that, and it's still like that.
and we
I
should
mean,
change that. We
should try to
totally should
it,
change
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Still on Matters Production, there's one thing that I wanted to get out of this interview, and that is when it comes to payment. You know, how you make your money as producers.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate to see very big producers who've done really, really good songs,
Yeah.
be out here asking for money because they're saying that, you know, well, I've gone broke. And we know that Magic's Enga actually is asking people to fundraise for him because he's saying, well, I'm not in a good state. I've just gotten a kid, but I don't have money. You know, and we know that Magic's Enga is one of the biggest producers we have in this country. You know, he's done great songs. A song like Dundaing was by Magic's Enga. So how do you go about making your own money? I feel like you guys just take money one-off. And I think this is my thinking,
No,
I'm
like,
not a producer.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as producers, the way for you to make money long term, you have contracts. Now, I leave that space to you. You just take me through how you work as Rico Beats when you work with this big artist or whichever artist. How do you make your money? Is it a one-off payment, or do you have a contract where you have percentages?
Yeah, so it works both ways. You can do the one-off or the contract way. And like worldwide, it's better, even in all the music industries, it's always better to do the contract way, because that way the song lives forever and you will be earning forever.
For the rest of your life.
Yes, and I usually tell artists that a producer will be willing to put in more of, you know, his craft into you if he will be part of the song forever. So that one should be encouraged, really. But you'll find that these big artists, most of them want the one-off deals. You see?
But you're making the songs for them. You're making the hit songs. I mean, without a producer, we wouldn't have hit songs.
Yeah, so if they find a producer who is like, let me call it desperate or some way, they go for that one.
Okay.
So that they just give you that one-off and that's it.
Yeah.
But for them, they'll be earning forever, you know, in performances, royalties and all.
Yeah.
So that's the situation actually with
King, what
Magics.
do you have to say concerning this matter?
Yeah, one, I think in terms of ownership of the song in rights, remember some of the Nigerian producers and even American, they have rights to audios. So like he said, the moment the producers, it can still be part of the audio or the video, it will put a lot of efforts. Again, you remember, an artist can earn millions of money through a song, but the producer have spent a lot of hours producing that same song. But for him, he pays only 10,000 to produce an audio. He earns millions of money. The producer just earns the 10,000. No matter how much the artist makes on the song, he will still not come back and say, you know what, my producer is the one that made this song. Let me appreciate him with the 10,000 or maybe 100K. He has earned 20 million on that same track that the producer made. Again, also back to the producers and the artists, we need to invest also in other business. Example, Diamond has different business things they do. Even me, I have a spa at Kayole Junction. I have a beauty spa. I have an hotel, KM restaurant. I have invested in other businesses such that when the music is not there, you still have somewhere you can withdraw some cash. And so for artists, they also need to know there are seasons. Like there was a season, there was certain artist who was a hit song. Another one is coming. another producer is coming. Every day, as people are graduating from media, meaning the other producers that are doing what we are doing. So the industry, the more people are coming in the industry, the more also the price is lowering, because like you said, there was a time you could charge an artist labda 30,000, and now there's other producer who is going to do with 5K or 3K. And the artist will just start looking at desperate producer to go and produce his songs. And that's why we feel that quality music, and there's no quality music. Because right now you need a guitarist on the same track. You need some kind of quality on your music. You will need to invest good cash on it. But now you see they go for cheap, because now people graduate every day and they're doing the same thing that we are doing. So for me is one, a producer has to earn also the rights on the song, so that also he has some shares on the track. Second thing, to the producer also, we need to invest on other businesses and things that can also bring money. Because Kenya saizi, somebody alisema pesa kupata kwa mziki ni noma.
Actually, that was
unakuja copyright society na inapatia Sauti Sol sijui dongapi dhao tatu. Sasa unangoja jo pige hit song uchezo ukolektiwe do, manze utangoja sana. Alafu hizi ma corporate hizi events unapata msee analipwa zile, lazima ujue msee akupige connection ndio upate hiyo show. Na pia msee anakupiga connection lazima kule percent. So unapata msee alijua hata ankamita moja anarudi anageiwa, anapatiwa kitu kama so moja ama 500. So unapata msanii anakani kama ana pesa, lakini ana pesa.
Is this sustainable?
Can you sustain financial management thing?
Can you sustain yourself as a musician, as a music producer in this country?
That actually narrows down to financial management, which is not taught anywhere. You most likely have to go through trial and error, make errors, then learn. And that's what most artists go through. So there is music in this business. There's money in this business. It's just that managing
people don't really know how to manage their finances.
And you know, like for this craft, you get cash like either daily or weekly, you know. So you can easily misuse it, knowing very well that, or thinking that next week or the next month I'll be having this and this gig. So it's very easy to misuse it. By the time you realize there are no gigs.
What happened during COVID. I mean, it really taught us.
The effects are there up to now. You know?
I want to get back on the contract thing and you collaborating with artists, you know, to make hit songs. And there's something you said. You said that most artists don't want to go the contract way. But can't you stand your ground as a producer? I mean, you know you're a good producer. That's why this big artist is coming for you or to you to have you in the music or make a beat for them. Can't you stand your ground? Can't it be standard that every producer in this country, like this is how they work? I mean, this is where unity also comes in.
We tried to bring that conversation of like standardizing the rates and all, but it just can't work. Because some people somewhere will still take even 5K cash and produce like a full audio. You see that? So even me in the earlier days, of course, I wasn't really aware of all that. So I could do lesser contracts, but like right now, I really stand my ground. Like if you
so
can't
you only
terms,
work with
like,
contracts and percentages.
You
know, there's a story I feel I need to tell.
With big artists, that is.
Sorry for cutting you short.
Okay.
There's a story on 50 Cent was telling in some interview where he was saying there's a song they had. There's a song he did, I think with Dr. Dre or something, but he was talking about the fact that he was offering a producer, some producer for this song, he was offering them to get 1%. 1% on the song. And the producer was like, no way I'm getting 1% from this song. Give me just pay me one off. Just give me money to malizane. But that particular song, right now, that 1% costs millions of shillings.
Exactly. So it depends on, it's like 1% of what, you see? So that's another thing, because if an artist is willing to really invest in the marketing and distribution of the music, then it's going to generate a lot of money. That way, even if you get a 5% or a 10%, it could be better than getting a one-off of like 50K.
Than someone paying you like maybe 200,000.
it could be better. So it depends on the effort that they're going to put in pushing the music also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also read one of the producers complaining, or rather not really complaining, airing their views, and they were saying that most artists, now that you're also an artist, most artists invest more in marketing the song rather than really investing in the song, making sure that you have quality music, like your quality is top notch, it's A1. They concentrate more on how they're going to market this song and not really how they are making the song. True or false?
It's true, but also like you said, there is always a way. You come in the industry or ministry, whatever you call it, you come and the people have been there before and they taught you this is how it goes. You see, for us to get there, you have to market your song. For people, it's like you have produced something, there must be a market where you are going to sell whatever you have produced. And so for me, there are 4 things I always consider. It's all, even in business, in my production, in everything. 1, it's production. 2, it's packaging. 3, it's supply, and marketing becomes the 1. So 1, as I start with the first, is production. It has to be quality. Another thing, you have to supply your songs. You have to brand yourself as an artist, as a producer, and also marketing. Right now, let me not say the mention of the company. It's the biggest brand in Kenya, but it's still doing the advert out there. There's an artist who has produced quality music, is not known. You know, I always do events in Mtaa, also I do concerts. When I go there, you find out there are big artists out there who has quality music, they have video, but they are just waiting for presenter to come and take the song from where they are. So you realize this guy who has no quality music is marketing more, is being known more. So we are complaining, wase wanacheza ngoma za wasanii hata wayuko. But these other artists is just putting it, is anaika song yake pale kwa nyumba. So 4 things I always consider. 1 is production, because people consume something quality. Even if you go to supermarket, you'll only go for something quality and also something you saw on TV, you saw it being marketed on billboard. Second thing is packaging. If today I package tomato and I bring it to you, you will buy it at a good price because it's well packaged. Second thing is marketing. I have to market whatever I'm doing. So those are 4 procedures that also a business person, a producer, an artist should also consider if they want to have a successful career wherever they're doing business. Yeah.
Marketing is actually like the major challenge to most artists. And it's actually out of ignorance, because some of these things you have to keep learning every day and reinventing yourself. You don't just do good music and stay there.
Yeah.
You have to keep up with the social media. You have to do, like right now, you have to be a content creator to push your content.
Yeah.
And most artists are not that. They're just good at writing music and recording. That's it.
And put it at home. They feel like somebody will come and it will be one day a hit.
Yeah.
They think like one day atamuka tu amekuwa star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like vitu tu zita happen out of nowhere. Things don't happen out of nowhere. You need to make
possible,
them happen.
but the probability of that happening is
really low. Yeah, it's close to nothing.
We make them happen.
Yeah. And speaking of, I mean, time is really not on our side. I feel like we should create more time to have this conversation and get deeper into it. But as we wind up, you've spoken about being reinventing yourself and going with the trends. Speaking about trends and content creation, I see it's something you do actually.
Every day.
You show us how to, like you decide today you're showing us how to make an amapiano beat, or how one of Beyonce's songs would sound if it were Gengeton, if it were this particular
production.
I love that
that's
idea.
Content creation.
I love how you're doing that. And it would be so bad if you don't tell people some of the songs that you've done zenye ni kubwa. Mbio tu sasa tukimaliza.
You mentioned some.
Mazishi, Kanairo Dating.
Yeah. Put Utawezana by Femi One and Major.
Yeah.
King Kaka wa Kardinali is called what?
Sikumbuki hata mimi tu hiyo jina. But
like there are so many, you get it.
Yeah.
I have Femi One, a lot, like 10 songs. Donjo, D-Day, Femi One, Viri, like there are just so many.
Okay, basically
I have to really think. Yeah, but they're there.
Clearly unazifikiria juu ni mingi sana, which is a good thing. Thank you so much for joining us on this particular set. If you may just give us your social media handles as we wind up, and then we'll create more time to continue with this conversation. Beginning with you, King Megan.
Guys, my name is King Megan. I'm an artist. I'm a producer. I have a studio near Njiru, Obama Estate. So if you're an uprising artist, you need quality music video, my numbers are 0708 145 170. Let me repeat again, 0708 145 170. Those are my business number. Also on Facebook, King Megan. And also if you want to check on my songs on YouTube, King Megan. Everywhere, social media, TikTok, Instagram. And if you call that number, you will get good prizes. Uprising artists, Big Tone, the producer, is one of the producer we are working with. I know you are watching. Also to mpoa wangu manze, nimekuja naye, big up sana mpoa wangu. My manager, my PA. God bless you so much. Yes.
I say na mpoa pole kwake. Big up mpoa.
Big up.
Rico, give us your handles. Pia weka uko na mpoa umsalimie.
Rico Beats, Mr. 808 across all platforms. Yeah, reach out, let's network, let's get it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was Rico Beats and King Megan. And I have been your host, Vivian Ndegwa. And we also had our DJ on set. And he's going to be giving us some mixes as we finish this show. Hey, karibu niseme so. Hey, Jalu. As we finish the show, DJ Unique will be winding us up with some mixes right there. But this is where I tell you guys goodbye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Entertainment Thursday. Good morning, Kenya. We do this again same time next week, God willing.